ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். Sri Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter. Bhakti Yogam is the focus of this chapter. Arjuna in the beginning asked a question whether it is Bhakti Yogam or it is Jnana Yogam leading to Kaivalya Moksham. Which one is going to give the results quickly? That was the question. And Krishna in the second shlokam itself explained that Bhakti Yogam is the process to pursue, because Bhagavan himself will help those who are engaged in such Bhakti Yogam. And subsequently Bhagavan explained the stages of Bhakti Yogam, how one can progress in this Bhakti Yogam, such as having full focus of the heart on Bhagavan. That is the ultimate stage. If that is not possible, one can train the heart in thinking about Bhagavan. That is the second stage. If that is not possible, one can engage in Jnana Yogam. If that is also not possible, one can engage in Karma Yogam. And after that, Bhagavan started explaining the qualities of Karma Yoga Nishta, because the context is that step by step explanation. In the end, he talked about Karma Yogam, and subsequent shlokams where he is talking about the qualities of the Bhakta. Here specifically it is focused on Karma Yoga Nishta, but whatever qualities which are expected in Karma Yoga Nishta, that is naturally expected in Jnana Yoga Nishta as well as Bhakti Yoga Nishta. Those who practice Jnana Yogam and Bhakti Yogam also must have the same qualities, and same applies for Sharanagatas, Prapannas also, those who are surrendered to Bhagavan, because these qualities bring about total detachment towards worldly aspects and attachment towards Bhagavan. So these qualities are certainly required in all of the personalities. And after explaining these qualities, in the end, in the final shlokam, Bhagavan is explaining again the greatness of Bhakti Yogam and Bhakti Yogi, and concluding the chapter with that. We have seen up to the 16th shlokam. Now we have to see from the 17th shlokam. Bhagavad Ramanuja has given beautiful commentary in the name of Gita Bhashyam. Vedanta Acharya has given Tatparya Chandrika. With the help of these two, Puttur Sri Vivek Krishna Swami Iyengar has given Tamil commentary for Bhagavad Gita. As part of that, he has given word by word meanings for all the shlokams. We have translated that into English. We are using that English translation to understand the simple meaning of the shlokams. Let us see 17th shlokam. Yona hrishyati na dveshti na shochati na kankshati shubha shubha parityagi bhaktiman yasame priyaha. Yaha na hrishyati, that Karma Yoga Nishta, the Karma Yoga practitioner who does not become joyful on seeing pleasant aspects. Na dveshti, who does not hate unpleasant aspects. Na shochati, does not worry when losing pleasant aspects. Na kankshati, does not desire to acquire new pleasant aspects. Yaha, who shubha shubha parityagi, giving up punya, virtuous, and papa, sinful karmas, actions. Bhaktiman, being devoted to me. Saha, he, me priyaha, is dear to me. So in these shlokams, Krishna is explaining that those who have such noble qualities, and also those who have devotion towards me, they are dear to me. If they have just the qualities or just the activities which are mentioned here, without the devotion towards Bhagavan, then that is of no use. If one needs to have Bhagavan as the goal, then one should have devotion towards Bhagavan. That is compulsory, mandatory. So Krishna is emphasizing that aspect in every shlokam. So here in this shlokam, Krishna is saying that Karma Yoga Nishtha, the one who practices Karma Yoga, who does not become joyful on seeing what is pleasant for him and does not hate what is unpleasant for him, does not worry for losing pleasant aspects and does not desire to acquire new pleasant aspects. Such person is very dear to me when he is devoted to me. And subsequently he is also saying that one who gives up punya and papa karmas, virtuous and sinful actions, such person who is devoted to me, he is very dear to me. Now obviously one can understand giving up sinful activities, that is reasonable, but how can one give up virtuous, noble deeds? And especially Karma Yoga Nishtha. When we talk about Karma Yogam, that means engaging in yagams, yajnams, dhanam, charity and so on. How can one be giving up the activities here? So that is not meaningful to say here. So the aspect to understand here is Bhagavan is saying that when we do any karma, any activity, we must have 3 types of sacrifices while performing the karma. That is kartrutva tyagam, mamata tyagam, pala tyagam. Kartrutva tyagam is giving up the thought of doership. Mamata tyagam means giving up the thought of ownership. This is my karma. And pala tyagam means giving up the result, not having attachment in the gain. So when a particular karma is done with these 3 tyagam, sacrifice, then it becomes part of Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga naturally means doing with this kind of attitude. Even Arjuna here, Krishna asked him to fight. He did not ask Arjuna to drop the bow and arrows and leave the battlefield. He asked Arjuna to fight. But while fighting, he should not have these 3 thoughts. That I am the doer, I am doing my task and I am going to enjoy the results. If such thoughts are not there, then that karma is qualifying to be the proper Karma Yoga, which is as good as not doing that karma. Because there is no direct impact to the individual who is performing that karma. All the results become responsibility of Bhagavan. All the effects of the action also become a responsibility of Bhagavan. So here, one who performs the acts with that attitude, such person, when he is devoted to me, he is very dear to me. That is 17th shlokam. Now 18th shlokam. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha mana apamanayoho shitoshna sukadukkeshu samasanga vivarjitaha. Let us see the meaning. Shatrau cha mitre cha samaha, being equal towards the foe who is nearby and friend. So one must be equal towards friend and foe. One should not have hatred towards foe. One should not have great liking towards friend. All of these in a bodily platform. One should not think in a bodily platform and have hatred or liking towards friend or foe. Everyone should be seen as an Atma and everyone should be dealt accordingly. Tatha, in the same manner, mana avamanayoho, being equal, samaha, being equal towards glory and shame. When we acquire great glory, we should be equipoised. When we attain shame, that time also we should not be too disturbed. So one should be equal in both situations. Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samaha, being equal towards heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Similar, one should not be thinking about it in bodily platform, and one should know how to handle heat and cold. Now it doesn't mean that we go and touch hot vessel or hot pot. One should handle, whenever there is an impact from heat or cold, one should handle it without getting disturbed. Similarly, pleasure and pain, one should handle it without getting disturbed, both positively or negatively. Sangha vivarjitaha, and the reason for all of these attitude, this equiposed attitude, that is Sangha vivarjitaha, being detached from everything. Only when there is attachment, there will be joy or sorrow. When there is no attachment, there will be no joy and no sorrow. So that is emphasized here in the 18th shlokam. Being detached from everything, one who is equal towards the foe who is nearby and friend. In the same manner, being equal towards glory and shame, being equal towards heat and cold, pleasure and pain. It's continued in the next shlokam. Tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketaha sthiramathir bhaktiman me priyo naraha. Tulya ninda stutihi, being equal towards praise and blame. If someone praises, one should not become very joyful and praise the self along. If someone comes and says, you have done this, you have done that, that's a great thing, then we also say, yeah, I have done a lot of good things. That should not be done. Similarly, when somebody blames us, we should not say, no, I did not do. Or we should not argue. And how do we handle that situations? Mauni, being silent. When others praise or blame, it is better to be silent. Better to be quiet. Because most times when we speak, we get into trouble. When we don't speak, it's better. Yena kenachit santushtaha, being satisfied with anything which he gets, even if that is insignificant. Even a little bit of food, let's say, we should be satisfied with that. If you get a little bit of anything, just be satisfied with that. For example, we may go to a Tadyaradhanam, when somebody is distributing prasadam. At that time we go and consume the prasadam, and then we say, they should have added this item, or they should have prepared this way. Instead of cooking it too much, they should have cooked it a little bit less. Instead of complaining like that, just relish the thought that we got prasadam. Just be satisfied with that. This is a simple example, but there are many things like this. So anything which we get, one must be satisfied. Aniketaha, being detached from home, etc. So aniketaha generally means being free from home, not having any home. But here specifically it is mentioned that one has to live somewhere. So even while living in a home, don't be attached to that home. That is the main aspect. Stiramatihi, having firm mind in the Atma, having the mind firmly placed in the Atma. Bhaktiman nara, the man who is devoted to me. Me priyaha, he is dear to me. So, continuing from the previous slokam, one who is equal towards praise and blame, who is silent, who is satisfied with anything which he gets, even if that is insignificant, one who is detached from home and other belongings, one who is having his mind firmly on the Atma, such man who is devoted to me is very dear to me. So again, having all these qualities, all these activities, all of that is good when supported with devotion towards Bhagavan. Otherwise, they don't fulfill the purpose completely. So that was 19th shlokam. Now we will see the final shlokam where Bhagavan glorifies Bhakti Yogi. Yetu dharmyamritam idam yatoktam paryupasate shraddadana matparama bhaktaste tiva me priyaha. Yetu, those who Dharmyamritam idam. This Bhakti Yogam, which is the Prapakam, that is means, and Prapyam, goal. So here Bhakti Yogam is the main topic because that was the question and the answer in the second shlokam. First shlokam was Arjuna's question and second shlokam was Krishna's answer. So in that Bhakti Yogam was emphasized. So this whole chapter is focused on Bhakti Yogam. Yatoktam, as explained in the second shlokam of this chapter, Pariyupasate, practice well. So those who can practice this Bhakti Yogam, which is the Prapakam and Prapyam, that is means and goal. For Bhakti Yogis, performing Bhakti is the means, and after attaining Bhagavan also, they are going to perform Bhakti only. They are going to devote themselves towards Bhagavan. So Bhakti Yogam is the means and goal for Bhakti Yogi. So as explained in the second chapter of this, second shlokam of this chapter, Pariyupasate, practice well. Shraddhadana, being faithful, being very faithful. Matparama, desiring to be united with me always. Te bhaktaha, those devotees. Me, to me. Ativa priya, very dear. So Krishna is saying in this final shlokam, those who practice well this Bhakti Yogam, which is the Prapakam, means, and Prapyam, goal, as explained in the second shlokam of this chapter, being faithful, desiring to be united with me always, are very dear to me. So performing Bhakti Yogam is greatly encouraged by Bhagavan here, because this Shadgam, this 6 chapters, the second 6 chapters, they are focused on Bhakti Yogam, and Bhagavan highlights the greatness of Bhakti and completes the chapter. With this, we will end today. We will continue on in the next session. Alvar Emperumanar G.R. Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, G.R. Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download KOYIL, KOYIL app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, KOYIL.org.